we're going to start off where we left yesterday. Left off yesterday. Um, yeah, which is this drawing with of Zane. So we're just going to finish the shading and and the shirt of the shirt and the skull obviously that comes on the shirt. So we did plan the shading yesterday. Uh, I just need to refresh my mind. Yeah. So we used this layer to plan out the shading. I did talk about damn it. I did talk about the left arm that bothers me a little bit. But for now we're going to keep it in that pose. In the future we can change it. Did a bit of a face reveal there. But anyway. Um, so yeah, actually this is a good opportunity to kind of talk about shading on fabrics and stuff. Yesterday I did have this conversation with our intern. He basically drew a character, but the character was wearing I guess it was a t-shirt or something of the sort, but the fabric was really scrunched together, so there was a bunch of wrinkles and stuff, and we talked about how to uh, not necessarily draw the wrinkles, but draw it in a way that uh, insinuates that there are creases and stuff. So one of the ways you could do it is obviously when you draw this line. So actually let me do a better one. Okay, so this is, bloody hate this camera showing my chin. So one of the ways you can do it is going off like this and then this. That's one way. Another way would be to use shading. Oh, let me just quickly explain this, because people just see me drawing that and they have no clue why I drew that. So basically what happens is when you view this crease here from this side, what tends to happen is you see there's a second crease, but this one over because of the way you view it, it kind of, well, I don't want to say shadow, but the view overlaps with this one. So when you look at it, you kind of get this type of shape, because this is one wrinkle, this is the other one, and more often than not, they will kind of have some sort of connection there. But for me, I just kind of build a habit where, come on. This isn't really applicable to this drawing because this is not a crease in this sense. What I did there was, when it comes to clothing or just fabric in general, sometimes you would get some sort of crease, but midway the crease will stop, so you get something kind of like that. I see this most often in curtains, not necessarily clothing so much. So I'm just gonna add some shading to depict this a little bit better. So you're probably going to get something like this. So it just stops midway. So in cases like these, the fabric is too, I want to say too flat to see or draw any lines for the creases, because when you draw a line, that basically means that you can't see what's behind the crease, and they're so flat, they're not blocking the view. You can clearly see what's going on behind them. So what we do in these types of situations, instead of drawing the lines for the creases, well, you can do it, it just looks kind of funny. More often than not, we basically just use shading in these cases. Actually, I think it would look better if we do it um, from the other side. So yeah, this is basically what I mean. So we talked about that, and I'm just gonna erase this quickly. So shading, so you can see I kinda applied those principles with some of these. This one, for example. But actually, when I think about it, I should have probably made this piece a bit more round, but oh well, it is what it is at this point. Anything can be changed afterwards, especially the way I save the files. I save it as a PNG, but there's a setting that makes it so when I save it as a PNG, it also saves it as a crypto file. So I can just always go back and fix it if something goes wrong or whatnot, or if Zane isn't happy with how his face looks. This is a bad habit of mine. I wouldn't recommend anybody do this. It's very important to work on layers. Reason being, if you make a mistake on one, it doesn't affect the whole drawing. Um, so I think if you add shades to a drawing, it would be cool if you just basically do it on one layer and then add the shading, come now, on the other layer. So when you mess up, you can just use the eraser and kind of fix the problem. Where in any other case, where this is a single layer, for example, so this is now a single layer. Now you want to fix this, but you can't, because when you use the eraser, you're going to erase the whole thing. So that's why it is more or better to basically use layers. But in this case, all I can do now at this point to actually get a result is maybe just switch between these two layers the entire time, or colors the entire time. Damn, it's hot today. Dang. Do you mind me closing the door and turning on the AC? I feel like I'm dying in these. Where's the remote? Here's the remote. How the fuck is this thing work? You said on 18? Yeah. 18 is good. Cool. I apologize that I left you guys. I was just kinda. I felt like I was suffocating in the heat here in the Western Cape. It's hot, but it's not just hot, it's humid. So you're kind of suffocating in the heat. So if I could create a good example of this, is imagine you're being thrown into a steam pot, or you're just being boiled or something. I think I'd rather prefer dry heat because at least then you can hide under the shade, where in this case shade doesn't help at all. I wanted to use the other word, but Twitch wouldn't let me. So yeah. Oh damn. I think we might actually finish this before the end of the stream. So there is a other project I also need to work on. Since my previous not previous avatar, my previous pose still looks very outdated. I need to update that one. So we already updated 2 poses of Diewold, Dylan, and this is the 4th, I think, of Zane. But we talked about it and we said, okay, Zane can basically make do with his current poses. He has enough of them. We just need to kind of update the one I have. Excuse me. At that time of the year, me and Zane, we have somewhat of a hay fever, so I'm kind of scared that at some point I'm gonna get on a stream, and you're not going to hear anything I'm saying. It's just going to be sneezing and stuff. I think I have like a little box full of uh, allergy pills, but I've I've been on those pills for so long, I kind of build an immunity to them at this point. I actually need a new subscription. Not subscription. Um, because medical health is also expensive as hell. We kind of have to go through public public institutes to get all your medicine these days. Again, we talked about the thing with the creases. Yeah, this is basically just dips in the clothes. It's not really worth anything. So, um, one artist that I really enjoyed, or whose art style I really enjoy, and this might be a bit of a controversial take, is the artist and author of Chainsaw Man. He has a very, I want to say, sketchy type of art style, uh, and also what he has is he's very good with drawing the folds and creases of clothing. So I saw he did this bit once on a character, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to do that from now on. Okay, also the reason for this little bump is this little bump, well, is basically the shadow. This is casting, and same with this one. It's the shadow that this is casting. Well, I think what would most likely be better if I do that. Yeah, I didn't go in this much effort for this, but a better way to have kind of planned this entire thing is using perspective. So I just could have drawn a little light there and kind of mapped out where the canvases, where the shadow would have been cast. And I have to say, I wasn't too far off. Kudos to myself. Okay, thankfully I already mapped these out for myself. Oof. Okay, cool. Yeah, you can probably see I'm not completely sticking to the lines, and that's fine. Um, those yellow stripes, they are generally just guides to give an idea of what you want to do. It's not the rule. You can change it if you think what you're changing it to is going to look better. and yeah, I'm filling in these smaller gaps with a smaller size brush just because so that when I go over with a larger size brush I don't kind of mess up over the lines. Actually that's also a good idea, just to make the lines a bit thicker. This one I also still basically can do it with just this brush. E. Okay, we got into that. Down. Okay, again, this is just me making the lines a bit thicker, so when I use the thicker brush, I don't really go over them. So I have to worry about going over them. I've noticed I've gotten so used to Control Z that I'm trying to do it in my everyday life. Like for example, if I'm cooking and I accidentally drop in an egg, I'm looking for the Control Z. It's almost scary how dependent we've become on technology. I don't know if you guys saw that bit, but there was basically this bunch of kids that I don't know which country it is. I almost think it's America. Americans, I'm sorry if I'm going to diss you now. But the kid basically, I think it was like 10 years old, and he has the, or you were supposed to have the education of a 10-year-old, and he basically had the education of a, I think a 5 or 6-year-old something. Dude basically just sat there and scrolled, didn't know anything about how to read or write or just that. And that actually kind of confused me, because even to this day with technology as it is, I don't understand how you can navigate through life without being able to read or write, because there's still a lot of articles and let's say comics, all those kind of mediums and stuff. Like, I know girls really enjoy to read, so, so that really confuses me. Unless everything is now going to be done via voice notes and podcasts and all that stuff. But I mean, you won't be able to pass letters in the class with each other anymore. You're just going to, they're going to have some sort of device which they put in voice notes, and it just like pass it over to the guy next to you, and they accidentally play it too hard or something. There's nothing about silently reading. You're just like gonna have to put it against your phone. Not against your phone, against your ear. Like I am afraid for our future. The reason I'm not picking out the outlines at the moment now is because I'm not too worried about if I go over the line or not. I'm just more worried about if I'm going to um, keep a straight line, that it's not going to look like this. I'm just trying to make sure the lines get neat. Oh, damn it. You know, I really wish I could play my own playlist, but I don't think that would be uh, as well received as this one, since this is basically just a bunch of lo-fi. Hello, Rochelle. I'm glad you can pop in again. When I have some free time where I'm not working on any E.I.E projects and I have to stream, we can stream about how I'm making the lasagna sticker. Because I think that I imagine that's something that's going to be used a lot. Just because it's going to become like some sort of inside joke within the stream. I'm just kind of thumb sucking the creases at the moment. Yay. Yo. I'm so glad I turned the AC on. It was boiling in here. I've almost felt like not the shrimp. Uh, I forgot what it's called. It's a crepe in Afrikaans. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue, damn. Um, I'm gonna have to Google this stuff. A lobster. Lobster. Did I have to Google? I completely forgot the name of a lobster and I had to go Google it. Or is it like.
What did you Google? Racing
No, 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 the thing is, like, I know the Afrikaans term for a lobster, it's a creep. Yes, so I had to, like, go Google, what is a creep in Engels?
What is the
I don't know. You- ask Dewald, he's been on this earth longer than I have, he has gathered more wisdom. Wisdom and knowledge. See, this is actually a bit of a difficult one. Maybe it's not. Yeah, it's not going to be. It's going to be something like this. Mainly because again the light is coming from that direction, so if I was going to cover that bit, and each finger is going to cover a bit of the other finger, but generally speaking, because the light is coming from that direction, and these are the kind of like the back of the hand, they're going to get the most shading. The only reason these aren't getting any shading is because they're facing forward. And actually, if there were a case of extra shading, which I would actually like to do, I would have put it in here, and also maybe around there. Anyways, anyhow. I've strayed from my own plan. Actually, that's completely wrong. That wouldn't happen. Okay, let's get to it. I'm actually wearing my headphones today, and all of a sudden the music just stopped. And I was just like, what the hell is going on now? I don't know if you also experienced that, but that kind of threw me off for a moment. The reason I usually don't wear my headphones is this isn't necessarily my type of music, especially because it's less lo-fi and more of jazz. I'm not a big fan of jazz. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with jazz, it's just not my taste in music. Oh, that's way too big. I forgot this isn't the pressure sensitivity friendly brush. Guess I can turn that off. In the moment it looks like an ugly mess, but trust me, we have to trust the process. If we never trusted the process, we wouldn't have the Mona Lisa. By the way, there's a theory that the Mona Lisa was actually a self-portrait of Da Vinci himself, but as a woman. Come again? Yeah, because they figured out this way of, I almost want to say, scanning what's behind the picture, and they found something that looks like it would have been a self-portrait of Da Vinci, because we do have self-portraits of him, and the facial features kind of just matched up. So it's like, oh, this dude was probably trans or something. Also, something I recently figured out: Da Vinci was unless a vegan, I think, or a vegetarian, and a lot of the times he would buy a bunch of birds. I think it was doves, and just when they got or yeah when they got to his residence, he just opened the cage and let them flew away. He was a bit of a animal activist also, I guess. And with that said, they carried a bunch of corpses to his place so they could study them. And it's kind of disturbing because one of the things he studied was a pregnant woman and the fetus. Now, my question is, if he studied anatomy via corpses, that basically means he got his hand on a deceased pregnant lady. And that's a bit disturbing to think about. Well, I could be wrong. But he was just, in my opinion, a bit too accurate in the way he drew or depicted the womb and everything in his studies and stuff, especially for way back then. I actually at some point had a huge fascination with Da Vinci's illnesses, art or studies at least. I remember I think they still sell them, but it's this sort of self-assembly, not necessarily toy but figure, and they had a bunch of them based on his designs. But the one I specifically got was about a drum that plays itself when you kind of twist the handles. So it was basically kind of a music box in a certain sense, but it didn't look like one. But again, a bunch of his stuff were just a bunch of prototypes, like the plane he made, or I think at some point he made a tank and a form of a cell phone. The dude was very ahead of his time. The cell phone thing is just because I remember someone mentioning a cell phone, and my memory does tend to lack, so take that with a grain of salt. I do not claim that's what he said, but I claim that's what I think he said. I should actually try and get my hands on or just see if there is actually a book that contains a collection of all his studies and artworks and stuff like that. I think that would be intriguing to read. Not that I'm much of a reader myself, but if I'm motivated enough with the correct material, I'll actually do the effort of reading for everything. It's just because I'm one of those people that when I read, my tongue moves around in my mouth. So my mouth gets dry while I'm reading because I can't read in my head. It's sort of a whisper reading. Just my tongue does all the movement. There's just no sound coming out of my mouth. So that's why I kinda hate reading. I prefer visual entertainment. I think I did do this one already. Yeah. Did I miss anything? Yes, I did. Look, I think that's it. Just make that a little bit bigger. You know, just kind of for my own sanity and you guys, I'm just gonna change this song to just any random other thing that Daniël made because this on repeat is kind of. Let's hope this is somewhat different. Yeah, when we're done with the shading up these pieces, we're going ahead with the skull. And when we're done with the skull, we're going ahead and finishing up a pose of myself that is still unfinished. I did work on it, but it's not finished. It's kind of weird drawing yourself for uh, just in front of a bunch of people. It feels a bit conceited. Okay, cool. Um, Time for the skull. I'm just gonna draw it quickly in other colors so I can just sort of more or less guess where it's going. So I know the shape of the skull changes based on all the creases and wrinkles and stuff. So I am going to take that into account. I'm just drawing the skull first, and then I'm going to change it afterwards. Well, that's a bit skew. So this shit kind of lifts up, kind of makes a dip here. But I'm not going to draw that dip because it's going to be too much of I almost want to say nuisance for the eyes. Again with this one, it's gonna go up like that, and this goes down. Just gonna cut this bit out so it's a bit more visible, and the same would go for this side. So it's not too much of a hassle, I guess. Oh, that's definitely the wrong brush. So, we're gonna check. So there's basically this wheel on the side here. I don't know how well you can see it, but the point of that little wheel is if you turn it, the size of the brush go up. And I used to use that often, but recently it only works sometimes. So before every stream, I kind of have to play with it to see, oh, is it going to work today or not? I really do have to save up for a new tablet. I have one at home also, but it's like a graphic tablet. It does the same thing. It just doesn't have a screen. It's more like a pad, but it um, it demands a lot of hand-eye coordination. Just going to fix this also quickly because this eye isn't as it's not the same size as the other one, and that's bothering me a bit. Now see, it's a bit bigger, but that's fine because the character is tilted somewhat, so you are kind of gonna get this perspective kind of situation, which also basically means this needs to be a bit lower, but I'm not going to worry about that now. You know, something terrible just happened in the office. Zane just had the idea of becoming a lawyer. That is a very scary thought. Poor Zane. He's endured so much abuse from me. Verbal abuse. We have a mannequin in the office. Zane faces physical abuse in the office also, but that's mainly from the mannequin. I have nothing to do with that, I promise. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Cool, cool. Now we just need to bring up the shading again so we can fix whatever we changed. This is a very small bit, but even the small bits make difference. The shading on this isn't too hectic actually. Really, really fine. Just pull up one of the other references to get correct color. And just okay. We're getting somewhere. Da-da-da. I'm actually excited to finish this. Oh, here we go. I just to damn it. Clean up this little piece there. Okay, and that's how Zayn is actually pose. So I'm just gonna turn off this. I'll save as I'm just gonna actually we can save that PNG, save, yes, we can replace it, and then give me a split second just so I can send it to Zayn. Okay, cool. So now we're going to work on the one from Michelle. I think this is the one. Yep. So when I previously meant about the Shading on shading, this is kind of what I meant, where this is the base color, and then you have the next shade of um, or then you get the shading, and then you get a darker form of shading that comes. They sit on top of each other. And then you can also add highlights if you want, but that's gonna take a bit too much. And the only reason I added this was because um, the hand is so close in the foreshortening, and it just looked weird without it. Because of the way the hand is positioned, all the lighting gets blocked. So it's basically just looked like a the base off based color with some highlights. So it just kind of looked weird. Let me just. What was this? Oh, this was also part of the shading. Um, this was part of the sketch. Actually, I think I'm going to continue with this sketch, and let me actually just get the red color because the other arm isn't finished yet. So what I am going to do is I'm going to figure out both that I'm just going to put the pen or a brush in my hand because I think that's like the cheapskate way of, to go. And it's going to be cool because I'm going to position my elbow behind my back and have the brush like this. Just make this a bit longer. Um, you know, it's actually funny. I can promise you now at this point, I'm probably going to draw the hand too small. And the cool thing is, since I'm drawing myself, I don't have to look at too much references because I already know how I look like. I already can tell you my arms aren't that thick. Like, you're watching me, you can clearly see that that's not the case. I'm not gonna lie to myself to make me feel better. That feels a bit too high. I think that's a bit more correct, I believe. Yeah. Ooh, this actually looks kind of good. This wasn't my intention, but making this look like a crease. Again, a lot of the time when we draw, we make mistakes or do something unintentional, and it looks really good, so we leave it that way. I like the best things in life is the stuff we didn't plan. I believe that wholeheartedly. Yeah. we're going to see about that hand. Usually it's either too big or too small. I kind of have a feeling it's going to be too flat and too broad. Um, kind of a bump there and then we go up. So I usually like to, when I draw hands, draw it kind of like this and not completely flat. I don't know, it just looks a bit more dynamic. I kind of have to draw it now in this sort of position. I could just hold the brush like this, but I think that looks kind of not cool. So this position that word is the right way to go. Which is cool because when I draw, I can actually look at my hand while I'm drawing it. So yeah, it feels like I'm cheating a bit. Also, different people have different ways of holding a pencil, which is kind of weird. I think it's my little sister, where she doesn't rest the pencil on a. No, it wasn't my little sister. It was someone else. Where usually when I draw, I kind of rest the pen on my middle finger and just steady it with my index finger and my thumb. But I knew someone, and I'm not sure who it is, where they kind of hold the pencil like they squish it between their fingers. And I don't know how the hell that works, how you're supposed to write like this. It, it, it does. Uh, uh, it confuses me. This is also gonna be a bit weird because I'm only drawing the first bend. That's not usually how it's when it's held. You're gonna see this the middle and the front piece of the finger is visible. So I think it's most probably going to look a bit more like that. One, my finger's very thick. But don't get me wrong, I do have a broadish hand, but I don't think my fingers are actually that thick. Oh, Michelle commenting I'm quiet today. I'm this whole week I've been a bit quiet. Oh, the this better. Sorry, I think at some point I might have pushed the mic a bit away because during uh, uh while I was busy drawing and the stream was off, I kind of just like pushed it away so it isn't that much in my way while I'm drawing. That's kind of the main reason why the mic wasn't so close. Sorry about that. I didn't notice it. Yeah, sorry I'm quiet. Usually, so the drawing of Daniel cases are a little bit of me just drawing and talking about why I draw the way I draw, the anatomy, the folds, just the basic rules of art, stuff like that. Character design, creature design, whatever we're busy with that day. And sometimes when I'm deep into the process, I kind of run out of ideas to talk about. I already explained the whole ins and outs of what I'm busy doing, so it's kind of a bit of a weird dynamic that I'm placed in. So yeah, that's the main reason I'm a little bit quiet, but um, there are other reasons why I'm also a bit quiet. Just mainly uh, a bit tired. But today's streaming session isn't going to be that long. I do have a dentist appointment at 3, so the stream isn't going to be cut short. It's just expanding on why I'm tired. Um, Come now. Like Zayn, he went on streaming for the morning. I don't know how you managed. He didn't come in that day for work. But what fuck yellow?
Zane's like, you're always talking shit about him.
I like talking shit about Zayn. But Zayn is a champ. He takes it like a boss.
What do you want?
I think pepper steak would be cool.
All pepper steaks today.
Yeah.
Pepper steak on the wish. Pepper steak. What's pepper steak in the chat? What's pepper steak in Afrikaans?
What? Huh?
What's pepper steak in Afrikaans?
Pepper steak.
Pepper steak. What?
I'm not quite sure what steak is in Afrikaans, but pepper is pepper.
Would steak just not be vlees? Or is that just...
That's just meat. It's like pork being vark, which might as well,
Fuck, yeah.
which you might as well just say pig.
Yeah, I'll say fuck. You know, you call someone a fuck. You know, they feel it, bro. They're like, ah!
Now, do you know? Someone once told me that one of the most insulting things you could call someone in German is Schweinhound, which basically means it's a varkhond, but I forgot what a varkhond is in English. I think it's not a stiffy.
like a prairie dog.
No, it's one of those things with a flat face, like downwards looking flat face. Good, I'm just gonna Google
Yeah,
the
this-
Afrikaans. This thing.
Oh yeah. Isn't that like a bull terrier?
Yeah, it's a bull terrier.
Yeah.
It's that calling someone a bull terrier is like the biggest insult you can give someone in Germany.
I mean, they are quite adorable. Those little bull terriers. My friend Caden has one. It's the most hyperactive dog.
It's apparently a very aggressive dog.
Really?
Yeah, when it gets angry, it's aggressive, and it's one of those dogs where it kind of bites you, and when it bites
Oh,
you,
yeah,
it doesn't
it's
let go
echo,
and feel
yeah.
your dick.
Yeah.
So we knew somebody that had a dog like that, and one of my primary school friends, he went to those people for extra math classes after school. And I don't know what the hell he did, but he pissed off the dog, and the dog. And I mean, the dude was tall. He was almost as tall as I am at that point. And the dog jumped up and bit the dude at the back of his head. But they're small dogs. I don't know how the hell the dog got up there.
Yeah.
So that's, oh man.
Hey Rochelle, how's it going?
She's also a bit quiet today, but she's hearing. She's probably using the phone as like a podcast thing, which is why mostly the reason people notice I'm quiet. But I've also noticed that we get some viewers when I'm quiet, so.
Yeah, everyone on YouTube is probably sitting there like, what the fuck is he talking to himself?
Well, I previously did mention where I'm looking at this on Dingus' Twitch,
Yeah.
so they can just go to Twitch instead. Sorry, the people that's on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get you another monitor eventually, and then have YouTube on the monitor.
Yeah, the your free monitor is going to be a bit difficult to navigate.
Yeah, it is. You just look up when you have a chance.
Oh, Rochelle did answer you now. I just want to remind you, Zayn is actually English. He understands a bit Afrikaans, a bit more than your average English guy, but
I assume she said there, I'm working right now. Funny, what does funny
so she basically said, "Hi, it's going good, thank you."
Yeah.
And she's working at the moment, so she's talking while she's working.
Yeah.
So she talks when she has the opportunity to talk.
Yeah.
Oh, office spit. Hold on, I'm gonna have to check this out.
It's a type of like crossbreed. It's like part of that family, but all of the
I wish it was so we have a beetle at the office at the moment. But we don't know if it's going to make it till the end of the day, but if it does, Gewalt is going to take it home. But I wish my little sister was here because she's afraid like to hell and gone of insects. Like when there's a cockroach at home or whatever. Oh yeah, I was looking at my Andy's reference. Hey, I'm kinda very forgetful. I'm just going to pull this. Oh damn, I shouldn't use that color. Rochelle, guess what? Wrong layer. To a massive extent, but whatever. This is still something I can kind of cope with. It's not too very bad. I'm just gonna kind of fix that and go back to this. And this. Make a line there for the pen. I am going to have to make the hand smaller. It's way too big, as you can see, but just going to cut it off and size it a bit and change the position, but the fingers themselves are flipping huge, man. I don't know what the hell I did here. I'm just going to have to change the size of these ginormous fingers. Yeah. When your fingers are as thick as your palm. Yeah. So we already have two stickers planned out, and that is going to be the wrong layer sticker and the pasta sticker. And we should probably put a Zane one also in there since he's become such a I want to say big part of the current stream. You see, these fingers are a bit of a. I don't know why I don't want to be so difficult today. Yeah, I think it's better. Um, I'm not sure about the position though. I'm just gonna change the angle of the pen because it's supposed to go like this anyway. Well, the way I hold the pen is usually just I hold the tip almost. I'm holding the tip. This is a very long pen. It looks like a medieval brush. Yeah, Zane, I'm talking smack about you. They're talking smack about my mic. Yeah. So from now on, I'm just going to hold the mic like this. Hopefully, these people can hear me now. Yo, I'm going to have such a big left hand at the end of this session. The people are going to think I'm left-handed.
Big left hand is quite boy.
Yeah, so Zane, so Zane's username is like Joyboy, so yeah. They said the reason I'm going to have well, a strong left arm or something is maybe I shouldn't explain it, but it's a PG-18 joke. Uh, I'm not gonna read it out loud what Rochelle just said, but I'm just gonna reply also in Afrikaans. Nee, as dit is wat hulle gedink het, dan sou dit my regterhand gewees het. Okay, so I can actually still draw this. Um, it looks weird just me pulling up the mic every time I want to talk, but whatever. If that's going to make the audio better in a sense, I think we should actually just get another mic. But you know, um, so yeah, I'm just drawing this little bit here. I can't really no, actually, I'm just going to pull this down here. I can't really draw the other fingers yet because um, the pen overlaps here. It's underneath the index finger, but it's on top of the middle finger. Uh, Rochelle, we already kind of tried changing the mic and whatever. There is a few settings on the mic, but as far as I know, they already put it max. So I think the mic is just a bit old and it doesn't function as well as it's supposed to. We have different mics in the office, but they're already in use. This was the only one available. Actually, Zane sits very close to the office. He gets all the insider news. I sit a bit of a mile away from the office. So if you want all the kind of the juicy stuff, you should kind of ask him about it. He's I want to say the spy, the in man.
Chat.
Not at the moment.
No. He's gonna start talking shit eventually.
I think Zayn is afraid of me talking. This is one of the reasons I should be quiet. He's afraid of me talking because every time I talk, he is involved. I would try to involve the other guys, but they might kick me out of the office. Zayn doesn't have that authority, so I can pick on him all day. I can pick on him all day long. We're getting our own offices. Yeah, the hand I think looks better. I think we can leave it like that. What I am going to have to do is, because I did do the sketch on the wrong layer, I'm going to have to erase this bit. There's so much on this layer. Luckily it's not too difficult of a fix. Okay, so that's where we're at the moment. Just gonna save this before maybe the power go out or something happens. Music's still playing. Yeah, so now we're just going to do the shading. Zane,
Yo,
you going to go watch the Chainsaw movie on Friday?
no, watching on Tuesday. Very busy.
Ah.
That's half price on Tuesday.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Tiger Valley. I don't know what movie house they have. I think it's Sturcanical. Yeah, Tuesdays
Yeah.
is half price days.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go on the.
See? Well, it seems Obi is disconnected for a moment, so yeah, but I guess it's all fine now. Just going to. Okay, yeah, I think it's all working now. Everything seems functional. Okay. I think we can start with the drawing. Actually, we're just going to take the base color and do it like we usually do it. Starting with the base color and then we do the shading afterwards. Okay. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I'm getting a bit quiet again. So yeah, we're again now sitting at the process where it's just we're coloring X, Y, and Z, which is the most boring part of the whole process. Well, I can talk a little bit about highlights and lighting. So for the people that actually want to start shading and do this type of stuff, like I didn't add highlights now at the moment, but if that's something you want to do, then you kind of have to take into account there's something we call backlight, which basically means I'm just gonna draw an example here. Check. So what you get is, let's say we put an object here. This is viewing from the top. I'm just going to check down this so you can see better. So here's the camera, and we're looking at it from the front. What we have here, generally what I'm doing is I'm drawing with the lighting coming from yeah, let's say this direction. So this is the lighting I'm working. I'm just going to draw a sun here to kind of emphasize that. So when we talk about backlighting, it basically means from behind there's also light coming, but to a lesser extent. So what we have here creates the basic lighting, what I have here, and what the backlight does, it helps with the highlights. So the highlights would usually come in the form of the outer layer of this outer layer of the silhouette. So it would be around there, the back of the neck, this side of the neck, especially this side. So it would kind of where you would expect the darkest shading to be, you'd kind of get highlights there. Here, here. Just basically around the silhouette. You'd kind of be there and you'd expect it to also be here at those areas. Okay, let me just get you back to what I was doing. Actually, I'll be back in a moment. I have a bit of a runny nose now. Okay, sorry about that, I'm back. We can continue whatever conversation comes up to mind. The seams on the clothing, the this and the that and the whatever. At some point I'm gonna run out of excuse me, stuff to talk about. The main reason this drawing of Daniel popped up, not the stream itself, but the topic of just me sitting here and talking about what I'm doing was during one of the streams I started talking about anatomy because it was part of the drawing I was busy doing, and Daniel was just like, oh, we can turn this into a thing where he just explains the art process and the stuff he's doing, and so, but there's so much you can talk about. It's very limited. So I'm kind of using 130% of my brain to expand on what I already know, which isn't much. I barely know English. English are difficult. Oof. You know what's a fun fact? So in Afrikaans, we like in English you get the cat is hungry and you get the cats are hungry. So is being the singular and are being a plural, while are isn't a word in Afrikaans. It's just it doesn't exist. We use is for everything. The cat is hungry. The cat is hungry. So that's why when most Afrikaans people try speaking English, their grammar just completely goes outside of the window just because of how different the dialect and stuff is. And we are also people that struggle to pronounce certain stuff just because the way we pronounce our vowels and stuff are very different, and some specific letters, like when you say gun, for example, the G, you kind of pronounce it in English, you kind of pronounce it g, where in Afrikaans you get the so gun is English, geweer is Afrikaans. And the R is also a bit difficult. So in English you get the almost like a R sound. My car, my granny. In Afrikaans, the R is just R. So when a lot of Afrikaans people talk in English, they don't say my car broke down. They would say my car broke down. Dylan, you being a bit in the way. You know, I'm just gonna take this layer and drop here so I can actually see what I'm doing. unlike most of the time. I'm gonna blind rat. Now I'm just gonna make sure I'm on the correct layer. Otherwise Michelle is going to kill me or tease me again. Okay. While I'm saying I'm making sure I'm on the correct layer, I'm drawing on the incorrect layer. I'm just gonna drop this one's opacity so I can actually see what I'm doing. Ah, okay. Yeah. Um, I think that's fine. We'll take this out. Now we color in like the children we are. Fun fact to any of the girls that might be watching this. There's no such thing as a man. There's only boys in adults' bodies. That's why some of us still play with Lego. I'm not guilty of that. No. Okay, we're getting somewhere, I guess. Okay. I sometimes have to look at the screen on the left because the tablet kind of mixes up the colors a bit. So I just get a clearer view because a lot of the colors are a bit more, I think the correct term would be saturated on the tablet. So sometimes when it's a bit too much, you kind of bit difficult to see. Okay. Working on the sleeve. I'm not very psyched on doing the skull at the moment. Not that it's going to be difficult. There's not much creases and stuff. It's just not. I'm not really psyched to do it. But that's probably going to be tomorrow. No. Tomorrow is tutorials with Daniel, so I'm not going to be working on this stuff. I actually have to write down a script for what we're going to do tomorrow. And actually, I think one of the things that makes the stream more fun is when the guys in the chat interact, because then it's not just me talking to myself. I'm having a conversation. It just makes it a little bit easier. Okay, now we drag this one here and we go down, way down below. Kind of missed that one, but it's okay, we can fix it. We're gonna turn into a Bob Ross. Just be very, very optimistic about everything. Zain, come here quickly. Like,
What happened? You're pretty interesting.
yeah. No, but Dylan, just quickly come check here.
That's good.
The comment section, that last comment is just.
More than one way that's not appropriate.
It's like,
It's so random, also. Someone dropped a message in the chat that's not very friendly. I'm not sure I should.
no,
No. That's.
not your friend.
It is. That's why it's something. No, you would have commented in any way, Dad.
Yeah.
He the dude is like, he was born without the filter. But yeah, just trying to get the line correct. Again, these lines are mostly just for guides. They're not really, don't have to completely stick to them. If you're a little bit off and you think it's gonna, yeah, it improves the drawing, then go for it. Then it's fine if the exchange is made. Just gonna quickly. By the way, to the dude that made that last comment, we the auto mod kind of decided, nah, we can't have that in the chat because of how, I want to say, explicit it was. So sorry about that, dude. And I had to call over Zayn and the guys to talk about it. We decided it would be better not be kosher to keep that comment on, because we can basically allow or deny it, but it's like, rather not allow it. Okay, so I think that's it for today. today is a little bit of a short day for me. Still have a dentist appointment and all that. Fun, not quite fun. But I hope you tune in again tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have a bit of a longer stream with tutorials with Daniel, where it's still going to be a bit of nonsense talking, and I'm going to talk about ways to improve your art and so forth. But for now, I thank everyone for joining us in this stream. I hope to see you again tomorrow. And for now, I bid you farewell, and may you enjoy